humanities? Here we go. All right, this is you should have already watched my intro to the World Religion Unit, where I just kind of give a basic overview of what we're going to be hitting over the next couple weeks. And I did say there you should have started up a page of notes that I'm going to give you some key terms and some points that'll eventually be covered on, probably some quizzes throughout this unit, and then eventually on the semester 2 exam. There are 3 terms I'm throwing at you to start things off, which will be really important that you understand these concepts for this unit. And I think that these 3 terms that I'm going over today are really good for everybody to have in their vocabulary as they go through life, because no matter whether you're religious or not, you're going to encounter people as you go through your journey in life that are religious, and you're going to encounter people that are not religious. So to have some vocab and definitions and a basic understanding of both groups and kind of what makes them tick is going to be valuable to you, right? Just being a person living in the modern world today, especially a very diverse country like the United States, where we aren't all one religious group, or we're not just void of religion. You're going to see America's a very diverse country that has freedom of religion, which is an awesome thing. I think one of our most important rights. So you're probably going to encounter a lot of different people from all different, sects and sects. I'm sorry about that. I pronounced it a little bit funky as you go through your path in life. So here are the 3 key terms before I babble too much on you. First one is a theist. So a theist, what is that? That's a person that believes in the existence of God or gods. Okay, so that's somebody that you might describe them as somebody with faith, or somebody that's a believer. Okay, if you are a Christian, which that's probably the most common religion in America in general, and especially in the community of Jackson, if you're a theist, that would be, somebody that believes in God, that might possibly go to church and worship and pray and things like that. So generally, a theist is somebody that specifically believes in a creator, that there was a God that intervenes in the universe, that is watching. And most of the religions, at least the Western religions, people believe that there is a one all-powerful, all-knowing God who is good and is watching over us. Okay, so that would be a theist. But in the Eastern religions, you'll get people that they would call them a polytheist, which means they believe in a lot of different gods that all have different roles. But either way, the base term theist, that's somebody that believes in a god or multiple gods. All right, so that's a good term for you to have into your notes. Now, the opposite of that, polar opposite of the spectrum, is an atheist. I would imagine most of you have probably heard that term before. So an atheist is kind of the opposite of a theist. It's a person who does not believe in the existence of a god or gods. You think that, that's not true. That's not legit. There is no God. And a lot of people maybe would say that an atheist, science kind of takes the place of that spirituality, that science and believing in logic and reason and that kind of things that can be proven, that kind of becomes their religion or their God. Okay, we'll delve into that a little bit more as the unit goes on. But anyway, an atheist, somebody who does not believe in God, right? Thinks that, they just look to science and things that can be proven with hard facts. All right. The last one is an agnostic. Now, an agnostic is kind of, I gave you a theist is a person that believes in God, atheist, somebody that does not. An agnostic is somebody that's kind of in between, that's sitting on the fence. So if you're an agnostic, you're a person who believes that nothing really is or can be known about the existence or nature of God or gods. So maybe that gets a kind of a fancy way of describing it, but just basically saying, you don't believe that the existence of God can be proven or disproven, that you see both sides have some good points, and really either way you go, you're taking a leap of faith, right? I mean, even that's kind of what we say. If you maybe are a Christian person, it's like, I have faith. I believe there's a God. Even though I can't see him or touch him, I believe he's there. And conversely, atheist, it is kind of a leap of faith to say, I can't 100% prove there is no God, but I'm believing there isn't. So an agnostic kind of sees both sides and is like, I don't really know. I'm open to other ideas. Most agnostics would say that if there was like ironclad evidence that could really prove or disprove this one way or the other, they would believe it. But it's one of those things, a subjective thing that believing in God or not is really it's damn near impossible to prove one way or the other. I would say, just so you know, my bias, because we've talked about bias a lot in this class too, where obviously most adult people have thought about religion and, the topic we're on one way or the other and have a pre-formulated kind of idea of what they think's right. I have been kind of in both camps. I was brought up as a more religious person. I would have been a theist went to church and believed in God, and that was kind of the tradition in my family. I think I rebelled from that during my college years and became an atheist and really started questioning things and thought, man, you can't prove any of this. And then I would like to think as I've gotten older and wiser, I've kind of become a fence sitter. I've gone into this group, and I would consider myself today an agnostic, where I don't really think you can prove or disprove in the existence of God. So again, I'm not trying to win anybody over or convert you to being an agnostic. Being an agnostic is not a religious group, so that's just not something agnostics necessarily try to do. But the reason I share that with you is I just want you to know what my bias is and kind of where I'm coming from as we go through and cover, this unit. So anyway, Taluki, I kind of consider myself an agnostic. But I definitely can see points on both sides. And I have a lot of friends that would consider themselves theists or atheists and totally respect where they're coming from and their stance on it. We'll have a question today that's going to get posted, and I'll probably give a couple days because I want you to really think about this and give a quality response. But I'm going to ask you, which of these three broad groups, as we're starting this unit, do you think you fall into and why? So no right or wrong answer to it, but think, where are you, a theist, an atheist, or an agnostic? Which of those broad categories do you fall into, and why do you feel that way? All right, that's all I got for you for our first chunk note.